Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and we're here with another narrated Pokemon battle. So this is a battle against MrDynasty, and looking at my opponent's team, I'm interested in seeing what Conkeldurr does. I don't see that many Conkeldurrs. On my team, I'm really wanting to try out Mega Gallade. It's a Pokemon I don't think I've ever tried out before, so I'd like to get some use out of Mega Gallade, see like how well it does as well. So we have two fighting types, and I want to see how each of the fighting types do. So I'm going to lead off with my Gallade. Looking at my opponent's team, Gallade seems to be the best lead. However, he ends up leading with this Rotom Heat, and I do not want to get burnt. That's what I'm very scared of. So I'm going to go into Victini expecting a Will-O-Wisp, but my opponent's actually going to go for a Dark Pulse. So this is actually not a set that probably burns you. It's probably like a I don't know what kind of set this would be, but Dark Pulse is a move you don't see that often on Rotom, so that's actually pretty interesting. But now, with one more hit of a Zen Headbutt taking him out, he's going to actually switch out, and this is actually a banded Victini, so I'm locked into Zen Headbutt, and he brings out his Alolan Muck. So Alolan Muck's kind of a problem for me, because it can take hits pretty well. However, it's not that good defensively as it is special defensively. So I'm going to try my hardest to take advantage of that. I'm going to send out my Salamence here, and what I'm wanting to do is pop my Z move, take something out. I was actually wanting to take out that Muck, but my opponent's actually going to go back into Rotom Heat, but you know, I'll take the Rotom Heat. We're going to go Supersonic Sky Strike. We're going to fly up in the air, and we're going to fly down and destroy this Rotom. However, Rotom does resist it. Salamence does have really good attack, and this thing's already low on health, and we get a crit too. I don't think crit mattered there, but yeah, I would have much rather taken out that Muck, because Muck is more of a problem for my team. But since I didn't take out the Muck, it's going to be a problem for me later down the road. So now my opponent goes into Milotic, and I know Milotics usually carry an Ice-type move, so I'm not going to stay in with my Salamence. I kind of need Salamence, especially for that Muck. So I'm going to send out Ferrothorn expecting the Ice-type move. Ferrothorn has really good special defense and defense. It's a very all-around good bulky Pokemon. So now I have my Ferrothorn here, and my opponent's going to Scald instead of switching out or anything. Maybe assuming that I don't really have any attacking investments or something like that. Maybe not a good attacking move for this Milotic. But I'm just going to start setting up some spikes at this point. I need to get some chip damage on certain things. And now my opponent's actually going to swap out at this time and go into Conkeldurr. So Conkeldurr, like I said, is a Pokemon I'm interested in seeing what it does. I'm going to get another layer of spikes. However, I don't really think I could stay in here, not with a Conkeldurr sitting here staring me in the face, because Conkeldurr does have really good attacks. So I don't want to lose my Ferrothorn. This thing's a really good switch-in for things. And I'm going to go into my Zapdos. This is my more defensive Zapdos. So it should be able to take some of these hits pretty decently. We get a knockoff here, and unfortunately we lose our leftovers. I'm going to go Discharge here, because that's really one of my best attacking moves on the Zapdos, and it barely does anything. So this is probably an Assault Vested Conkeldurr. That's what I'm thinking at this point. This is probably Assault Vested, so that's actually pretty cool. Assault Vested Conkeldurr. But now I'm going to go into my Gallade, and like I said, this is my Mega Gallade. I've been wanting to try out Mega Gallade. I do know it has good special defense. It has really good speed, and it has really good attack. This is a pretty interesting Pokemon. I want to see how well it does. I'm going to actually go Close Combat. The main reason was I was expecting my opponent to bring out the Alolan Muck, expecting a Zen Headbutt. So I was going to go with that, because that way I could hit that Alolan Muck and get some nice damage on it. But my opponent actually does stay in, and we're going to get a stat drop on our side. So now Chemical X, the Muck, is going to come back, and I'm just going to go Close Combat. I don't really have a perfect switch-in for this thing. First off, I don't want to lose leftovers on my Ferrothorn. However, my opponent actually goes for a Poison Jab, so I'm wondering if it would have been better just to go into Ferrothorn, since Ferrothorn does have that Steel typing. But But yeah, we go that close combat, and we don't quite take out the Alolan Muck, but we do put some nice damage on it, and that's really what I need on this thing. At this point, I'm going to actually save Gallade, because I at least have one more hit with my Gallade, and I'm actually going to go Ferrothorn here, as this thing's actually going to go for a Protect, trying to stall out my Gallade and let it go down to the poison. That's clearly what was going to happen there if I, didn't switch out. But now my opponent's actually going to go for the Protect here. And I'm predicting that, but I just want to put Leech Seed up anyway. I don't really have an offensive way of taking care of this Muck with my Ferrothorn. That's another reason I didn't really want to swap into it. But at this point, I need it to switch, because Gallade is too important for this battle. So now my opponent does go for Knockoff. One of the things I didn't really want to happen, I'm going to get these spikes up, just get a full layer of spikes. I see this as a nice opportunity to do so, and now I'm pretty sure this thing doesn't have a way to actually handle my Ferrothorn, as actually he does have Brick Break, which, I mean, it doesn't take me out, but it does decent damage, so that's actually something I'm kind of nervous about. I got the Leech Seed up, however, and I really want to try to whittle this thing down, because, like I said, this thing is the biggest problem for my team, especially my 2 Psychic types, and without this thing, I can easily Zen Headbutt a lot of things. But now my opponent's actually going to swap out at this point to save that Alolan Muck, realizing that Alolan Muck is actually really good for my opponent in this battle. And this time I'm going to Protect, get some health back, but my opponent switches into Trevenant. So now at this point, I don't really want to stay in. I'm going to make a risky play. Well, it's not too risky if you think about it. I'm going to go into Greninja, because I don't see this thing going for a Grass-type move on Ferrothorn. So I'm going to get my Greninja in here. This is my Ash Greninja, my Battle Bond Greninja. So if I can go for a Dark Pulse and take something out, it's going to be great, and I'm going to try that here. This thing is already at pretty low health, too, and actually it's going to go down to the spikes once it comes in, so that's fine with me. I do lock myself into Dark Pulse, however, so my opponent does know that I've got Dark Pulse at least, and this thing is Specs, so it's going to do a lot of damage, but I'm locked into it. So I'm just going to, go for that Dark Pulse again, because I'm pretty sure Milotic might not take 2. Unfortunately for my opponent, I do get the flinch, but I'm pretty sure in where we're at in the game, it probably didn't matter that much in the long run, because Greninja's just going to keep Dark Pulsing, even if it took a Scald, or I don't know what else Milotic would have. It'd probably have Recover or something like that. I'm not totally sure, but we get the Battle Bond after the second Dark Pulse takes out the Milotic. So my opponent's lost a pretty bulky Pokemon there, and Greninja is here. Greninja is ready to sweep. So now my opponent goes into Cradily, and Cradily is more well known as a special defensive Pokemon, but I'm just going to continue with the Dark Pulsing here, because Ash Greninja has really great stats, and I do feel like this flinch might have mattered more than the Milotic flinch, because this thing has a lot of grass type moves it probably could have hit me with. It probably could have hit me with a Giga Drain and got some health back, but we're just going to continue Dark Pulsing. Ash Greninja is doing really good. I'm sorry about that flinch there, though, but at this point, I do still have my Victini, I still do have my Gallade, so I'm just going to continue with the Dark Pulse here, and we're going to take out this last Pokemon with the Dark Pulse, the Trevenant. So we get a nice victory there. I don't think the flinches mattered that much in the long run, because we still had a lot of key Pokemon still alive on our side. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in the next Pokemon video.